going on? What's going on? We're back for another one. Terrence Crawford, Bob Arum. Before we get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the videos. So Bob Arum's been going out the last couple of days and been going kind of ham on Terrence Crawford. He's pretty much been talking about how Terrence Crawford needs to promote himself better, especially if he wants to get these big giant paydays and I guess these big fights. And that he needs to take advantage of. I guess he has the options of being able to go into all these different shows on ESPNs and things of that nature, that he needs to do that and try to elevate himself as far as, the promotion of himself. And he's been talking about it because supposedly Terrence Crawford's contract is up in like a year, October or something like that. And, they were asking the question of, is he going to sign him back, or is this a relationship that would continue? There was reports that, Terrence Crawford's lawyer, put out information that supposedly that Terrence Crawford is upset. He doesn't like his situation due to the fact that he's not getting the fights that he wants, and that he's looking to either get those fights or to move on to a different company. But the main thing is that, Bob Arum's been saying in the last 3 fights that he's lost a lot of money on Terrence Crawford. And that, he's lost so much money that he could build a house in Beverly Hills, with the amount of money that he's lost on Terrence Crawford fights. And I would just have to say to that is that if he's losing money on Terrence Crawford, then they're going bankrupt. That means they're losing money on everybody, due to the fact that Terrence Crawford, he brings in, when it comes to his gates, Terrence Crawford brings in the biggest gates out of everybody in on Top Rank. No one's bringing anything even close. You could literally take other fighters, the funds that they've generated, as far as their gates are concerned, take them a good portion of the people on Top Rank, and it would be one Terrence Crawford card. So when it comes to the gates, he's doing substantially higher numbers than everybody else. That's number one. Number two, viewership. Terrence Crawford is doing substantially higher viewerships consistently than everybody else. People have little blips here and there, but pretty much for the most part, fight to fight, no one's even close to Terrence Crawford. Not even close, okay? Excluding, again, nobody. The only person that's done any kind of bigger numbers than you see than Terrence Crawford would have been Tyson Fury when he fought against Deontay Wilder. When he fought against some other 2 dudes, viewership low, gates low as hell. Didn't make any real money off either one of them. So you have to call BS on that one, And as far as him not promoting himself, you're his promoter. That's why you get that 30%. You get that 30% so he doesn't have to do that. Lomachenko doesn't promote himself like that. They got a machine that's literally behind Lomachenko, where they'll be putting out all kinds of stuff, trying to find the exact perfect dates when there's an event going on, so that event has high numbers, and have Lomachenko's event come right afterwards in order to try to get those viewerships, and then just promotion. They'll promote the hell out of a Lomachenko fight for the most part. Even in other people's fights, they're promoting Lomachenko. I've seen Terrence Crawford fights where they were promoting the crap out of Lomachenko during that fight instead of promoting Terrence Crawford. And he doesn't do anything. The viewership's okay, doesn't bring in any gates. When he fights in Madison Square Garden, he fights in the small room. He doesn't fight in the big room. Terrence Crawford fights in Madison Square Garden, he fights in the big room. Okay? Lomachenko fights in the theater room. Big difference there, So the reality of the situation is, especially when it comes to like with ESPN and the relationship that they have, ESPN wants to see numbers. They want to see viewership. That's one of the biggest things. So for you to all of a sudden say that the one person that you're guaranteed consistently good viewerships, even though his viewership had dipped a little bit, you still consistently see, high viewership to him on a consistent, regular basis, So that helps big time when it comes to those meetings with ESPN, and you got to show those numbers. And even they're talking about with the amount of money they're spending on him. From what I remember them talking about Terrence Crawford's deal. Terrence Crawford's deal was with ESPN. Even though he's signed still to Top Rank, from what I've heard, this is almost like a NBA type of contract where ESPN is paying Terrence Crawford. And if Terrence Crawford was to get injured, if they were to not be fighting for whatever reason it is, he still gets paid. So his paychecks are guaranteed. He has guaranteed paychecks. Even if he's hurt, if he can't fight, if there's anything going on and they don't put that fight on, he still gets paid. And it was from ESPN. So if ESPN is the one that's putting up the check, Bob Arum isn't spending any money when it comes to him. And then on top of that, Bob Arum's getting licensing fees from ESPN to put these fights on, millions of dollars on top of that. So he doesn't have to pay Terrence Crawford, that's number one. And then he's getting a fat check on top of that for the fights that he does with Terrence Crawford. And then obviously we're in the middle of something right now, but when we're not in the middle of that, he gets high numbers also when it comes to pay-per-views. I mean, not pay-per-views, when it comes to gates. He gets those high numbers when it comes to gates. So he makes pretty good money off Terrence Crawford. He should be very comfortable with the finance that makes up Terrence Crawford. He might be losing money on Tyson Fury. He might be losing money on Lomachenko and all these other fighters where that he pumps all this money into trying to put out this propaganda and trying to make these fighters out to be something that they're not. He might be losing money on that. How much money is he making on Ramirez necessarily? How much is he making on Taylor? How much money is he making on those guys? Does anybody remember who Ramirez fought last? Does anybody remember who Taylor fought last? Does anybody remember who Beterbiev fought last? Does anybody know when Beterbiev was even fighting? See what I'm saying? So I have to call BS on that, and the reality of the situation is I just think it's a front. I think this is just a situation where, I've said it previously, they're just trying to get people like talking about Terrence Crawford and put forward a subject that could get him consistently talking about him for a very, very long time. Before it's, Terrence Crawford, wants to fight these guys won't fight him, these guys won't fight him, these guys won't fight him. That's what the talking point was. But then as soon as these guys started calling him out though, Ugas, like I want to fight him, and them giving a reason for that. Sean Porter saying it, and them not really wanting to fight him. Keith Thurman making an excuse for that. It got to the point where people no longer believed that he wanted to fight them. So it wasn't a talking point that could literally reel people in like anymore. Didn't reel people in anymore. So they had to get something new. So this is something that's perfect. This rift between him and Top Rank. Oh my gosh, he might be living Top Rank. His contract is over in October. So guess what? The next two fights, people can look at the fights, no matter who he fights. Still look at it and, he's trying to get these fights, but Top Rank won't get him the fights. So then there's an excuse for him fighting lower tier competition instead of fighting those guys. That type of thing. It's kind of like his saying, treating fans like rocks and throwing them in any direction. This is just a different direction that they're trying to throw the fans at. It would be a great thing if he did leave Top Rank. I think it would be the greatest thing for his career. I think Shakur Stevenson needs to leave Top Rank as well. I think it would be great for both of them. I think his pay will go up, substantially. He'll get way better fights as far as legacy is concerned. And popularity will go up. And he'll be working with a brand that's actually not going to bash and trash him and put other people on pedestals ahead of him. And give him the respect that he deserves. But unfortunately, I think he's comfortable in the situation that he is. He's comfortable with the pay that he has. And I think he's just going to rock with that for the rest of his career. Like he said, if I don't fight those guys, I'm good. It's whatever. I'm straight. That was his words. So I think that's going to pretty much, I think that's what his mentality is. What I'm getting, I'm good with. I'm straight. I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable. And that's where he wants to be, So, unfortunately, don't expect him to leave Top Rank, I don't believe. That's number one. And number two, don't expect him to fight anybody. All these top tier welterweights, don't expect him to fight any one of them. And because at the end of the day, if financially it was killing them like that, what Bob Arum would do, he would release them. He'd be like, yo, go. We're good. Let's just cut our ties and you go do you. That's what he would do. But he's not doing that. He's keeping him, because he's a big part a big part of the funds that Top Rank makes, regardless of what he or anyone says. And he's a big part of viewership that Bob Arum has to show to ESPN on a regular basis, and anybody else bringing in those numbers right now like that. So he's gonna make sure, like, T.O.'s coming up. They're not promoting Shakur, so but he has a loyal fan base that loves him, and hopefully he can just consistently grow it himself. Because Top Rank isn't gonna do anything for him. But besides that, right now, and then the Inui propaganda that's going on, that they're trying to build him up as some pound for pound guy who's getting his orbital bone and his nose broken by a old ass Donaire that's moving down in weight. But whatever. But we'll see what happens in the next couple of months. We'll see what happens by October and see if Terrence Crawford leaves Top Rank. Wow. Like, subscribe, share. I'm out.